Hey guys, it's Simon from redlinemotorsport.co.uk. Today we have the Friday session of Assetto Corsa Competizione. Only we're at Silverstone, so we're just following on from the Wednesday championship. Although these are two separate championships, Wednesday and Friday. So it'll be me and Reese commentating this race. So say hello, Reese.
Hello.
Hello. So you're going to have to excuse Reese. He's got a bit of a migraine, so he might not be talking as much during this broadcast. But do bear with us as we do try to fill in any sort of gaps as we can. So
Try our best.
that's it. So so we've got 30 minutes left of the free practice, 30 minutes to qualify, and then it's a 60-minute race. So at the moment we've only got 16 drivers in at the moment, so not that many considering that it has been quite a humid day. So we'll just see how that goes.
We have about 9 official sign-outs on the server, so 9 expected. So we should, in theory, have a driver count of around 20 today.
Yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Sign-outs, really, unfortunately. But so other countries obviously hitting over 40 degrees, so I can understand why it's a bit very hot and humid. Other parts of the EU and stuff. So hopefully we should get a few more join before the qualifying, or maybe sort of midway through qualifying. But we'll see how we go anyway. But we've got 6 AM classes at the moment, and about 10 pro class, so it's not too bad at the moment. Welcome guys. If you just joined in, don't forget to obviously follow us on Twitch and like and subscribe on YouTube, because we are streaming to both platforms. We will start to commentate a bit more as we start to get into practice, and obviously being full on into it during the race. So we'll just keep it to a minimum at the moment, because Reese has got a bit of a migraine, so he just wants to try and take it a bit easy. Bless him. As he there sniffles. Poor Reese.
I'll survive.
That's it, yeah. So I will give you some results. So with the last race at Brands Hatch 2 weeks ago Friday, because this is a bi-weekly championship, Christian, I don't know if he's in today. Is he in today, Christian? He's not in the lobby at the moment, but he managed to get pole for the pro class. Just looking to see who else we've got in it at the moment. Davis Santos, he's P15 there at the moment, but he managed to get P2 at Brands Hatch last time, so he's another one to look out for. Alberto, he managed to get P3. He was pretty fast in the Bentley in Brands Hatch, wasn't he? So,
Very fast.
yeah, he had a few mistakes, and he had a bad pit, and then he lost quite a lot of time, didn't he? So unfortunately he ended up losing P2 because of that. But yeah, it's definitely worth staying in tune, especially if Alberto does join at some point. I don't think he'd signed out, did he? Well, not that I know of. So yeah, so he might be joining a bit later on. I think normally he joins a bit later at the end of the practice anyway, because of the time difference and family and stuff. So it's understandable. But yeah, for the AM class in Brands Hatch, we had I'm sure how you pronounce it. Is it Libor or Libor?
I think it's Libor.
It's Libor, yeah. So he managed. So yeah, Libor's in P16 at the moment. So he managed to get pole in the AM class. So we'll see how he does here at Silverstone. We had Marco. Just seeing if he's in there at the moment. Marco's not in there at the moment, but Marco managed to get P2. And then we had Molly. You managed to get P3 in the AM class. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting to see how they get on there. Evening, Vicky. Welcome. Welcome, Red Bear and Ice. Welcome to the thing. I think I forgot to actually post in our Discord to say that we've gone live. Oh no, somehow it did work.
The bot's done the job.
The bot's done its job, yeah, okay. I didn't realise I set it up properly, but it has done its job, so there we go. Excellent. So anyway, let's just have a look around the grid to see who we've got out in a moment. Bad Moon, he's in the Lexus with a carbon fibre skin. So Bad Moon, unfortunately, didn't finish the Brands Hatch race, so hopefully he manages to actually finish Silverstone. He did manage to, because he's in both championships on the Wednesday Championship as well, so he did okay in the Wednesday Championship. Just double check the results there to see where he come. Yeah, so Bad Moon managed to get P2 on the Wednesday Championship at Silverstone, so he's one to hopefully get a podium later today. So we'll see how he gets on, if he can have such as a good run as he did on Wednesday. Yeah, good luck, Vicky. Hopefully you don't. So, as you guys are obviously in stream, I just want to make sure that you can hear myself and Reese over the cars fine, because Wednesday we had a bit of a technical issue. So we just want to make sure that you can hear us loud and clearly.
Yeah, the game was a little bit too loud, but nothing too major.
Yeah, no, it was some sort of loop back that came through the headset, which then went through OBS, and so it was powering out our voices, but managed to fix it today, hopefully.
Okay.
So, not much going on at the moment. I mean, it's still a fast track, so it's not optimal yet. Quickest times at the moment is from Steve Strelo. He's managed a 158.7. He's in a Lexus. And saying that, Bad Moon's managed to get P2 at the moment at 158.8. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of times these guys get today. Because if I remember rightly from Wednesday, when the guys started qualifying, they actually managed to get. It was. Yeah, we managed. If one of them managed to get a 156.5, I believe it was. So very fast time. So it definitely. Once the track turns to optimal, they should be getting into the low 157s and high 156s. So it'll be interesting to see. So sounds perfect. Thanks, Preach, for that. So at least you can obviously hear us now, rather than having us sort of whispering in the background over the noise of the cars. That's never a fun thing to find out when you're all the way through the stream and it's still that bad. No. So anyway, glad we've managed to sort that out.
The pace of both championships so far in the first two rounds, both Wednesday and Friday, are both A, really similar, and B, just as competitive. In practice on Wednesday, the pace was just as similar and just as widespread, so the top times being in the high 58s and the lowest times being only just over the 2 minute mark.
Oh, excellent. So that's good to know.
We do have a hotter track today, though, than we did Wednesday. Wednesday was about 35 and it's 37 right now, so that may hinder performance a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I'm using exactly the same settings for the Friday server as I did for the Wednesday. So it'd be interesting to see how the track champs change.
Because on Wednesday the track temps did fluctuate quite a lot, with it being about 6 degrees cooler in qualifying and then almost a further 10 in the actual race. So a lot of
That's right, yeah.
things to note in regards to tyre pressures and just how the car responds in different weather.
That's right, yeah. So I remember rightly, the start of the race we were starting about 33 degrees, and then come near the end of the race, it dropped down to about 23 degrees. So that was quite a big drop in temperature there, 10 degrees over that duration. So that's probably caused havoc with some of the guys on Wednesday when they was racing. So we've got a Mehmet here. I assume that's pronounced Mehmet. So he's new to the championship today. So unfortunately, we had a guy drop out. So he was one of the reserves to jump in for the AM class. So I've got Ray Taylor. He's in a Lambo. So unfortunately, Ray didn't manage to finish the race at Brands Hatch a fortnight ago. So hopefully, he should be able to get some points today.
I believe Ray had some technical difficulties last time, which hindered him at the start of the race and put him out of contention. So
absolutely, hope someone's just gone flying off the track there.
I think it was Ray.
That's it. So Vicky again is another one to watch out for, because she managed to get P2 on Wednesday. So it'd be interesting to see how well she does today on the same track, same conditions. So she is running a custom skin for the BMW. So she's got two skins actually. She runs for one for the Wednesday champ and one for the Friday champ. So they're just literally opposite colours. So like the main body would be the metallic pink. So pretty cool livery anyway. So let's see what else we've got here. So Bad Moon is on fire today. That's a 158.6 so far, but again, this is obviously practice, so hopefully, once the track starts to go to rubber in a bit more and become optimal for qualifying, we should start to see some faster lap times again. So hopefully, knocking off a second or two off of these times now. So yeah, we've got Nick Dealey. He's in the McLaren. So he's actually one of our chief stewards for Redline Motorsports. So he actually is part of motorsport in real life. So it's nice to have a guy like that on board with us. So but the thing is, the McLaren doesn't seem to be that. What's the word I'm looking for?
Pace-wise, or?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have the pace. I don't know. My mind's just gone blank.
I think from what I've seen so far, it's not too competitive in the straights, but it does seem to be a stable car. So I think it's a good car for consistent lap times. And in a 60-minute race, you're gonna need consistency. So who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, it's just one of the things, it's just lacking a bit of top speed there, isn't it, off the McLaren. So, a shame really, because it's actually quite a nice car to drive. So, appreciate the follow there, mate. Thank you. So, that's Nick. Who else we got here? We've got David Santos. He's managed to slowly come up. So, where did David come last time? So, yeah, David managed to get P2 at Brands Hatch, so 2 weeks ago. So hopefully he should be looking to get a podium today. So he's one that sort of holds back during the practice and during the final parts of qualifying, and then he normally chucks in a really crazy fast lap. So hopefully we'll see him get a pretty good lap time in. But at the moment, he's running P6, so about a second off pace at the moment. That's bad mood. So we've got Marco in, so we've got a few more guys now. It's got 18 in at the moment. So we've got 10 signed out, unfortunately, tonight. So we should be looking to get about 20 people in tonight. But unfortunately, because of the weather, you know, it's really hot. And Friday night, I'm sure if the neighbours have got a barbecue going or something, I'd probably be over next door as well. But as it is, my next door neighbour hasn't got a barbecue on, so I'm here broadcasting and commentating for you guys. What a fun Friday night. So yeah, so Marco, he managed to get P2 in the AM class. So I thought that'd go for Brands Hatch. So again, he should be looking to get a podium today. Because the Porsche is quite competitive here at Silverstone. But then looking at Samir last Wednesday, he really struggled with the Porsche, didn't he, come near the end of the race? When the track temps started to drop off, fortunately. So we've got Tommy here in the Aston. So he did quite well in the pro class. Managed to get a P7 at the Brands Hatch. So see how well he does today with the Aston. He's P5 at the moment. He's best lap 159.6. So he's a good second off the pace at the moment. But again, I said the track's not rubbered in yet. Still a fast track, so due to turn optimal when this qualifying starts. See anything else in the back? It's got Anthony. So he's in the yellow and black matte painted Ferrari. So he managed P5 with the AM class on at Brands Hatch. So hopefully he should get a good time because the Ferrari was dominating this track on Wednesday. So pretty good to see where he comes to later on in the race. And if he can obviously get the lap times down, we definitely know that the Ferrari is capable of getting a 156 here. So yeah, if he can improve by another 3 seconds, then he's going to do very well. So Steve Strelo, so again, he's one of our favourites to win the race today. Very consistent, very quick with the Lexus.
The Lexus seems to be very quick around this track. It really likes it much on the nose, but still stable as well.
Yeah, I was just watching that actually, how the weight transfer and everything of the car. It's definitely very stable here as he comes through the loop. Michael Springer. So he managed P12 of the pro class in the Aston. So we'll see how he gets on today. So unfortunately, we've had a few sign outs. 17 in at the moment, so we're expecting another 3 more people to jump in. Well, that's a shame. We just seen that we had someone just sign out the championship moments ago, which is a bit of a shame because we've obviously got reserves lined up for people to take places for the championships, but not great when they try to sign out as we come near the end of practice, unfortunately. Just see how we did on the times at home. So Steve Strelos managed to improve his time by an extra couple of attempts. So, like I said, you know, there's over 9 minutes to go to the end of practice. Then we have the qualifying starting. So yeah, so this is when the track will start to rubber in more, become optimal, and then hopefully these guys should be shaving another couple of seconds off their times. But still pretty fast times anyway, with everyone pretty close to 2 minutes and under. So, who's your favourites today then, Reese? Who are you finding one of your favourites?
I think, judging by the free practice times so far, in terms of the AM class, I reckon Bad Moon's a real favourite around here. He seems to be rapid. He's really putting in the laps and has the pretty consistent pace to back it up. I think it's hard to call for the rest of the field at the moment because the top two pro cars are only split by 2/10, and it's less than a second all the way down until P8. So I think it's going to be again really hard to call, which just brings more excitement to the product as well, because both Wednesdays and Fridays are super competitive and fast as well. And no matter where you are on the field or what class you're in, there's always a battle somewhere going on in the track and the race, and that's what makes it so fun to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got 18 drivers in so far, so hopefully we get a few more in. Just as we see Team Master spin off track there in the Audi, so probably didn't want us to catch that. So yeah, so Christian's now in the lobby, so he managed to get P1 at Brands Hatch in the Porsche. So yeah, so he's another favourite for a podium today. So it's definitely going to be between him and Steve. Maybe David Santos. It depends if Alberto's going to join as well. If Alberto comes in, we're going to be in for a real interesting fight with quite a few guys up front. So we'll see how that goes. So Eric Eggman. He's in a very rather purple Mercedes. So Eric, he managed P4 at Brands Hatch. So again, he's very competitive, and we do know that the Mercedes is very dominant here as well. So yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting because if I remember rightly, Reese, we had about 6 different car manufacturers leading the at the qualifying, didn't we? So it was quite a good mix-up for the runners.
On Wednesday, this
Wednesday.
past Wednesday, yes, we had 6 out of the top 7, all different manufacturers.
That's it. So yeah, so it goes to show obviously how close these cars are, especially if you get the setups right.
The top 2 Lexuses do seem very strong though, compared to the other cars, but the other cars really aren't that far off time-wise, with the top 8 only being split by less than a second, so qualifying could go anyway.
That's it. But if we remember rightly, the Lexus doesn't do that well when it comes to the optimal track, did it? So this is where the Mercedes and the Ferrari and the Porsche were starting to put away here, getting this quicker time. So even the Lambo, actually, the Lambo was doing really well with Chris. So yeah, so just over 4 minutes to go of practice, and then the qualifying will start, and then obviously we'll start to see if they can manage to get into the 157s and the high 156s. So 19 people in so far, so we're only really looking for one more driver to jump in, so that should be our grid then for the day. So we've got 10 people signed out, unfortunately.
We have 9 out of the top 11, all different manufacturers. The only repeat manufacturer being Lexus, taking position 1, 2, and 6 at the moment.
That's awesome, yeah. So most of the guys back in the pits now. So yeah, it looked like the Porsche did very well at Brands Hatch. So Christian was in the Porsche, so Brands Hatch managed P1. Marco was in the Porsche, he come P2 for his AM class at Brands Hatch. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out later on.
From what I've seen of people testing the limits of the car and really pushing it in terms of race and qualifying simulations, the Porsche seems quite edgy through Maggots and Beckett's and those high-speed corners where you need direct rotation but not too much. And the Porsche just seems to want to rotate a little bit more, so the Porsches do have to fight a little bit if they're not direct and exact with their inputs. So that may turn around and bite them in a 60-minute race, so they have to be vigilant for that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm just actually going through the sign-out list there. I mean, it looks like we've got Justin who actually signed himself out actually racing, so that's quite nice to see that we've got a guy there. And T Master who's signed himself out for today's race is in as well. So we should hopefully get a few more drivers in. Unless I'm actually looking at the wrong list. Yep. So I did hit that back.
on the vote it says we have 11 sign-outs.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Today,
but
so.
obviously what you'll do when you click on the reactions, it comes up with the all the list of people that actually signed out.
Okay.
But yeah, no. But when I clicked on it, it showed me that like Justin and T Master are signed out, but they actually wasn't. That they were actually signed out for the Brands Hatch race. But yeah, so unfortunately, Alberto is signed out, but he was very dominant at the Brands Hatch. So it's a shame that he's not racing tonight, because that'd be pretty awesome if he jumped in there, because we'd have had an absolute awesome battle with about 5 or 6 cars actually fighting for position, all with a similar pace. So we've got 10 sign-outs, plus the guy just signed up today. We've actually got 11 sign-outs, so yeah, we're probably looking at 19 there by the looks of it then. Which is a bit of a shame.
It's a bit of a shame, but the grid at the moment, if from what we're seeing here in free practice transfers into qualifying and the race, it should be very, very close throughout the whole field.
That's it. So just bear with me a second, because Justin's managed to get himself disqualified.
Speeding in the pit lane, I believe.
Yeah. Oh god, I can't remember the password. It's not going well for me today, but oh well. The main thing is at least the stream's working this time. That's interesting. Yeah, I was just looking at the chat though, actually. Yeah, just bear with me while I just sort out Justin's being DQ'd.
You may want something to cover up the chat if you're about to put the admin password in.
Yeah, that's alright, it doesn't matter, because people can't join the lobby anyway. And I change it each time, so it doesn't
Oh, okay.
matter too much. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're just at the start of qualifying it, so just see who's going to be one of the first out.
Looks like Steve Strelow's the first out, but we got quite a few more heading out straight away.
Just bear with me to make sure that I'm hoping that Justin can get out without.
He seems to be out on track.
Right, that's okay. That saves me having to mess around then.
I think it only disqualified him from the end of practice anyway, so.
Okay, that's cool. So we'll stay on board with Steve for a minute as he starts to come up the. So how's your head there, Reese?
Yeah, doing good.
You doing alright? Okay, that's good then. Just making sure you're alright. Just a bit quiet through the stream at the moment.
There's not much going on at the moment. I'll let you know when
Yeah, no, it's obviously everyone's
qualifying
just.
probably starts kicking off.
Yeah, they're just starting the hot lap, aren't they? So.
Yeah, we've got the front 3 or 4 starting the hot laps now.
Yeah, so I'm just on board with Steve for a minute and see how he gets on. So
he's going to be the first one to complete a flying lap, so he's got no gauge at the moment as to where he comes.
That's it. So we just stay on board with him. So see how he goes as he comes through club. I'll just chuck on the HUD for a minute so you guys can see what's going on in the cockpit with him. So as he starts to come around the loop now, tries to get on the power quickly, starts to come up the Wellington straight. Takes it nicely through Brooklands as it comes round through Luffield. So it's taking a nice cut there on the Woodcote. And he's managed to 157.8, so that's not bad for a first run, so hopefully the second run should be a lot better. Just jump in header cam for a minute and just see how we're doing. So looks like Vicky's managed to get the fastest lap so far, 157.8.
By just under 200ths of a second as well.
That's it, yeah. So Anthony's in the ARM class has managed a quicker lap as well, managed a 158.7. So that's a lot better than his original that he was getting during the practice run. So as I said, the track's more optimal now, so they should be getting faster laps. So I'll just give you the time board at the moment. So I'll just stay with Steve for a bit again as he's going back up through the Wellington Straight. So I'll see if he makes an improvement on his time. So if he can actually break that 156 barrier, then he's definitely in for holding a podium and starting in the front of the grid. So his last lap was quicker, but I think he must have cut the track or something because he's that didn't actually register as his fastest lap. So Vicky's gone a bit quicker again.
I think she might have actually just done the exact same time that she did before. Or had track limits, I'm not sure.
Yeah, quite possibly actually.
Oh no, because she's just coming through Aintree now, so she hasn't finished her second flying lap, that's why.
Oh, that's interesting, so maybe she held off then for a bit. So we'll just stay with her a second and see how she gets on. So she comes around the second last corner of Luffield.
I think she might have been holding off for some space actually, as it is quite difficult to find even with only 19 cars on the grid.
Yeah, very true, yeah.
Yeah, it was a 322, so she was trying to find some space.
Well, yeah, that makes sense really, doesn't it? So try and get a clearer track for you to get some better lap times in.
Yeah, she's got a nice 10-second gap ahead now.
That's it. So yeah, so welcome to the stream, guys. If you're obviously new to Redline Motorsport, then don't forget to obviously like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitch. And obviously, if you're into sim racing, you want to find a league, then obviously do come and join us. Links are down below. So we do actually have about just over 1,300 members at the moment. So we race through quite a few games, from like Race Room, Assetto Corsa to ACC, Dirt Rally 2.0. So yeah, we do quite a few selections running 7 days a week. So do check us out. Also, we are in the process of building a new website, which should launch very, very soon. Which will give some pretty awesome stuff on there. So like a race calculator app and all those sort of things. So that's relative to sim racing. So yeah, really looking forward to the new website. Yeah, it sure is red, and nice. It does throw you out a bit with the pits being the old sort of pit stops, as they say. So just stay with Vicky at the moment. She's managed to hold P1 at the moment. So
she's kept this lap really clean.
Clean, yes, it. So yeah, I'm just see if she makes an improvement.
158.1.
So she's 3 temps down off her quicker so far. So let's see where Steve is. So Steve's just come around for his flying lap by the looks of it.
I think on her best lap she did have Steve ahead on track to give her that toe down the hanger straight. So that may have helped her quite a bit.
Yeah, quite possibly that. So once the camera picks up and finds Christian, there he is. So yeah, Christian again. He's I said he absolutely dominated Brands Hatch. So excuse me. So I think he managed P7 at the moment with 158.5. So he needs to find some more, at least another second or so to get himself more competitive.
I think it's hard to say right now because that's only his first flying lap and there's still 19 minutes left to go. So
yeah, exactly.
I think he'll work himself into a rhythm and get there. So
that's it. I was to say some guys do leave it to the very last sort of lap to get their times in. You know, when the track's a bit more quieter and there's less chance of mistakes happening or hitting traffic, as you say. So Steve Strelo has just managed now a 157.8, so he's taken pole by, let's see, a few thousandths of a second, a few hundreds of a second even. So just to see, so let's have Bad Moons dominating the AM class at the moment with his quickest lap. 1/10 quicker than Anthony, who's currently running P2 for the AM class, or P5 and P6 overall. So not doing too bad at the moment. So David Santos has managed to now get a 157.5, taking him into P1. So that's a nice quick lap there. So, oh, thank you for the host there, Stick Stuff. So at the moment, David Santos is running P1, Steve Strelo is running P2. So 2 Lexus is dominating at the moment. Vicky's P3. The only unfortunate is no one's in a Ferrari in the Pro class today. If there was, then we know we can definitely see 156s here. But as I say, we've still got 17 minutes, so it's still early yet, and the chances are you could probably get to see someone break into the 156s today. So, see how that goes. So Eric's just done a better lap there. He's now managed to get himself P4. So almost a 158 dead. So that's still just over 2 tenths slower than Vicky in P3.
Unlike Wednesday, when in qualifying the track cooled off, the track temperature seems to be staying where it is with 37 degrees, so I'm not sure if we will see high 56s, but I think we will eventually get into the low 57s.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, so it's quite surprising that I'm running the same settings and it's not running the same as it did on Wednesday. But you know, I suppose that's randomness for you.
I think that gives some variety as well and doesn't give an advantage to those running in both the Wednesday and Friday championship, because they're essentially different tracks with these temperatures changing as they do.
That's it, yeah. So we'll see how it goes with the race. Like I said, it started about 33 degrees in the race, and then it dropped down to about 23 degrees come the end of duration. So we'll see how that plans out. So just with Ray Taylor at the moment, as he comes round to finish his hot lap. So he's in the Lambo. So yeah, he has done a bit better there. It's taken nearly a second off his time, but that's one way to do an emergency stop. So yeah, back with Nick Dealey. So he's not done too bad actually. He managed a 158.8 out of the McLaren here. So he's running P10 overall. So whether he can get any more out of it. So it's quite surprising actually to see a couple of AM class drivers so high up on the board. So yeah, that's interesting. So I'll just try and get as much of all the drivers that we can on the grid, get a bit of screen time. So
I think the Lexus is genuinely very strong around here, in terms of how great it is down the straights and how good it is through the corners as well. And at a high downforce circuit like this, that really helps it. Also with the high speed nature as well, it's a fairly fine balance. So that seems to be blending very well in the AM Class 4 Bad Moon. But Anthony isn't too far behind though, he's less than a tenth. So it's not like he's out there by 4 or 5 places, it is still very close in both categories.
this is it. So going by Wednesday's race, you know, quite a few people made at least one mistake during the whole duration of the race, which lost them a couple of positions here and there. So it just depends whether Bad Moon can keep on the pressure with Anthony behind him. So that's going to be interesting to see how that sort of ends up. And obviously pit strategy as well, because as we've seen from Wednesday with the pit strategy, you know, Vicky dominated there with her pit strategy and ended up taking P2 off of Chris for in and out of the pits so quickly from a tyre change and a bit of fuel she took on. So it could be anyone's race, as we found
Definitely.
out on Wednesday. So
I think it's going to come down to who can soak up the pressure and deal with it, because given how fine the pace margin is, it might not be a case like Wednesday where Albert just stormed off in the Ferrari. This may be a case of more mentally who can absorb that pressure and who can time their moves right at certain points in the race, and that's excluding the mandatory pit as well, which throws another dimension into the strategy. As we saw in Brands Hatch, Christian Veal was very good at soaking up the pressure that the Bentley gave him at Brands Hatch because that Bentley was throwing everything at him, and he just soaked it up and dealt with it. So if he can get ahead and manage it, then he's got a good chance of winning this race.
Absolutely, that's right. So very interesting to see, like I say, how they get on during the race, and hopefully we don't have any issues with the formation lap. Because as we saw on Wednesday, Tony Rubio ended up locking up and shooting off the track, going wide during the formation lap. But lucky enough, he managed to get back up into his P2 position at that time. So yeah, again, we'll see how that obviously pans out. But generally, the Wednesday's formation lap and lap 1 was very, very clean.
And given the high quality of all of the drivers, I don't expect anything less from this championship either.
That's it. So just on board with Justin Will Be Loved at the moment. He's in the Bentley. So he's racing in the AM class at the moment. So his best time's a 158.9.
Just an update on Bad Moon. He's taken overall
Yeah, I've just brought the board
third
up.
position. So now the Lexuses lock out 1, 2, and they lock out the whole podium in terms of qualifying at the moment, which shows the strength of that car at the moment.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive there. So quite surprised to see Bad Moon so high up. But I think we've been racing Wednesday in this race. It's obviously giving quite a big advantage over the other guys. But you know what is a hot lap compared to consistency? So that's the key thing. We'll see how that obviously pans out.
Because Bad Moon did have an off on the first lap at Stowe, which put him right down the order, and he did end up finishing somewhere around the midfield. It wasn't anything spectacular. He did make up a few positions after his error, but yeah, it wasn't as strong as it was here.
Exactly. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this pans out. But either way, if he does hold his consistency down, you know, he is very highly likely to get a podium today.
I think this advantage with cars will ebb and flow as we go to different circuits that suit different cars. It's just interesting to see the Lexus so dominant here at Silverstone.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. God, it's a very warm night tonight, very humid.
It's 19 degrees where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I don't know when. So I've got 21 degrees here at the moment, and it's very, very humid. So it looks like Steve Strado's managed to get P1 off of David then, so he's managed to get a fast lap there, a 157.2. So that brings him 700ths of a second faster than David. So it's a really nice times there. So still 7 minutes to go. So we might get to see them breaking into the high 156s. I guess it all depends if they can get the right toe at the right time and not hit too much traffic.
I'm not sure. I think given the track temperatures, it's been holding off at such a high temperature. I think it might be just out of reach to get to the 156s. I think you might be able to get a very low 157, like a 157.0 if you're really pushing it. But I think a 156 might be just out of reach, because that is a big ask already for those top two Lexuses to find another 3+ tenths around this circuit.
Absolutely. So, have we got any questions over on YouTube at the moment, or is it all pretty clear over there?
No, not at the moment.
At the moment. Okay. I suppose Friday night in this weather, I suppose everyone's out, you know, down the pub or something in the beer garden.
Wouldn't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. So I do feel for the guys who are obviously racing here tonight, sim racing. So it's definitely going to be a sweaty one for them.
Yeah,
But
definitely don't envy them.
so just see how we're doing now.
Uh,
So looks like
Christian Field has just moved up to P3
3.
overall, knocking down Bad Moon to P4.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, Justin Welbylove's now shot up to P6. So he's P2 overall for the AM class. So that's nice to see. So far the times are pretty close together. So pretty much everyone sort of 2 minutes under. So it looks like Cara there in P19 struggling a little bit, trying to get even remotely close to a 2 minutes. So he's down at 2:03 at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how he acts as a back marker later on with the front runners. So just over 5 minutes left to qualifying. So we'll stay with Steve Strillo for again for a minute as he's holding P1 at the moment. He might have a better lap, we don't know yet. I'm not sure if he's on a continuous hot lap or whether it's just a warm-up lap, but we'll see in a minute. There's a few more corners left before he goes over the start-finish line. So, yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Don't forget to obviously follow us on Twitch, like and subscribe on YouTube. And obviously, if you are a sim racer, you're looking to get involved in sim racing, then do head over to our website and Discord channel. So we do have approximately, well, over 1,300 members so far and growing each day. So we do racing 7 days a week. So it looks like Steve's managed to get his best time there, 157.27. So that's his quickest lap of the race so far. So I think he's had enough and retired to the pits now to say that's the best he can get out of that car.
I think so, because he's pushing the car as much as he can through cops, but the car doesn't particularly want to keep the steering momentum with him. It just tends to understeer if he pushes it any harder than he is already.
Exactly, yeah. So Vicky's now managed to grab P4. So she's getting very, very close. But looking at the time, she's like 6,000th of a second off of Christian in P3. So very close times there. So both been doing different class cars there, BMW and Porsche.
Shows the competitive of the whole field.
That's it, sure does. So David Santos, we'll see how he does, because see if he's on his last flying lap. So he's running P2 at the moment. Looks like Steve is about 700ths of a second faster than him. So yeah, so that's his warm-up lap by the looks of it. So he should be out on his final lap then. So we'll jump back to David in a minute. We'll just see where the other guys are on the field. So Vicky's just coming around through a Vale chicane. Just to see where the other guys are as well. So they're still coming down the hangar straight. They're all coming down the through Vale chicane there. So yeah, so I'll tell you what, we'll jump on with Vicky by the mix. She looks like she's the closest one to the start finish line. So see if she's managed to improve her time. Oh, and she decided to say that enough's enough. So she's head back to pits. So Bad Moon's going down the hangar straight, so let's try and grab to see who's on the loop there. So Michael Springer's on the loop at the moment, so we'll stay with him. So we've got an Aston and a Mercedes, both with very similar skins by the looks of it.
I've been running on board with David Santos, who's just coming out of injury now, and it seems to be a fairly clean lap so far.
I will jump on board with David in a minute. I'm just keeping an eye on the rest of the guys that are coming over the start-finish line. Because I believe David might be the one on his last lap.
Yes, he's going to be the last one coming through.
That's it. So looks like Joseph couldn't make any more time on his car. So these guys are coming down for the loop there.
Neither could David by the looks of it, but I think as he came through with 45 seconds to go, so I think he's going to go for one more flying lap.
Also, right, okay, so I'll move a Libor at the moment. So as he's about to come through Woodcote. So he had a quicker lap time, but it looks like he must have made a mistake there. So we'll jump back on with David to see where he is at the moment. So he's just coming on down through Vale Chicane. So we might just jump.
Looks like he's abandoned that one.
So he's abandoned that one. That's a shame, really. So there's only two people out at the moment. That's it. So I'll wait for the board to come up in a minute.
It looks like the Lexus lock out the front row in that case.
So Libar's still got 3 minutes to finish his lap. So whether he can improve his time and get under the 2 minutes for the AM class, because he's in the Ferrari.
He's not too far off the breaking the 2-minute barrier.
That's it. So just see where Jucifer is at the moment. So Jucifer is just going around left field. So we'll just stay with him until he finishes the line. See if he's managed to... Oh, he's just gone into the pits. That's difficult. So we'll go back to Libo then. So he's the last one out on track at the moment. So as he comes through the loop.
So far, Steve Strehler takes pole and David Santos takes P2 with a front row lockout for Lexus. Christian Field takes P3, Vicky in position 4 in the BMW. Bad Moon taking AM class pole, it looks like, with the Lexus. Lexus seems very strong around here. Justin Wellbeloved taking P2 in the AM class with the Bentley. And Anthony Benenate taking P3 in the AM class.
Awesome. So it looked like Libor just managed to improve his time then, so he managed to get just under 2 minutes. So that put him up to P14. So some very nice information that Red Bear and Ice has just put in the chat there. So right, so we start the formation lap. So I'm going to jump off into the chat with the guys in a minute. So I'll leave you guys with Reese for the moment. I will just put you into Helicam to see the formation lap. So yeah, I'll be back in a minute. So Reese, if you can keep the guys entertained, I'll see you shortly.
Okay. So, seems
There we are. So just over 20 seconds ago, and the race will be off. So as I say, it's a full formation lap. They go into single file around pretty much down around to the second to last corner. The leader should slow down then to allow them to get back into double file, and then the leader will then get back up to speed and take him up to the start finish line, and then the game will say go go go, and then it'll be off for him. So hopefully we'll see a nice clean formation lap like we did on Wednesday. So far so good. I'm just going to jump down the mid pack and just make sure that everyone's behaving. So far so good. Everyone is starting to spread out. So nice and clean so far. So the idea is they don't want to get too close to each other. They want to give enough room so they can obviously warm those brakes up, you know, start to weave, get those tyres warmed up, all ready to, to prepare them for the start of the race. So this is another thing to obviously be aware of as well, is during the formation lap, you obviously need to allow for extra fuel for that, because it's not part of or counted part of the 60-minute race. So yeah, some people can get caught off guard by that. So do obviously remember, if you are doing a full formation lap, always make sure you put more than enough fuel in, because the last thing you want to do is end up running out of fuel just before the start finish line, because that's always a bummer. So again, it looks nice and clean. I'll just jump back to the midfield, still looking nice and clean here.
Seems to be a bit of backing up, but nothing too major, just general speed up and slow down.
That's it. So yeah, it's all looking pretty good at the moment. As I say, Steve is pretty switched on, so he knows that when he comes to the second to last corner, excuse me, that he's going to slow right down and let everyone sort of bunch back up again.
Yeah, I think as long as he does it relatively progressively and not aggressively, causing a pretty severe backup, in which everyone has to be switched on, otherwise that could cause an incident, then we should be okay. Track temperature from qualifying to race has dropped to 34 degrees. Nothing too major, only a drop by 3 degrees, but you will feel that, and we'll see as the race progresses if the temperature fluctuates like it did on Wednesday.
Well, this is it, because I mean, as you see now, in-game time is 2 p.m. There's a time multiplier of ×2, so technically the race should finish 4 p.m. in game time, so there should be a small decrease in temperature, but we will see. So all very nice and clean so far.
Everyone seems to be fairly clean through the loop.
Yeah,
I'm not going to mention any names, but we did have a little bit of an incident through the loop on Wednesday. Yeah,
very minor though, so nothing to worry about. So that's the main thing. The main thing is like I said, this is sort of taken away from the anxiety and all that sort of stuff at the start of the race. This gives people plenty of time to get in the car, get the feel of the car with the extra fuel load, and yeah, to actually calm those nerves down, because that's obviously the main point when obviously it all goes wrong. So
yeah, sim racing is 98% psychological in my opinion. It's really about your mindset. Luckily everyone seems to be lining up progressively and double file cleanly.
That's it. I'll just
ready
double check
for the race start.
Yeah, it looks very nice and clean so far, so we'll jump back towards the leader here. So we're staying helicam for the first lap, just to make sure that everyone's behaving and it's nice and clean, because it is double penalty points for any accidents caused during lap 1. So we do like to punish anyone that's and as we say, it looks like Christian has just had a big off by the looks of it, so And it looks like
Yes,
the Aston's gone off as well. So Tommy looks like he's gone off. I think
Steve
that's
got
Tommy.
a pretty good start, and David was just catching up into the slipstream as they went through to Cops, but just seemed to did not have the grip and caused him to break, which then backed that into Christian, and Christian just did not have any time to react with how close he is. That sent him round and has now put him down to I think P10. I'm not sure where, because the relative seems to be a little bit. I think P16 or 17. Relative
That's
seems to be a
that
little
is a bit of a shame. A bit of a shame of the start there, unfortunately. Um, that's the thing. People getting too eager through turn one, and obviously, making those big accidents. But unfortunately, we do have a very harsh penalty system to punish guys that don't take it very well.
Bad Moon seems to have let 3 of the pro cars that were behind him, Bad Moon being in the AM class, let 3 of the pro cars that were behind him through. I'm not sure if that was because he broke track limits or what, but he's just let them through and is now battling with Anthony for P2 in the AM class.
That's very interesting, isn't it? So we've got Justin at the moment, who's P1. Yeah, he's P1 for the AM class at the moment, or P3 overall. So he's managed to get himself up there nicely at the moment. So Bad Moon is P2, is P7 overall. So it looks like David has got quite a bit of. David and Steve have managed to got quite a good lead now away from P3.
It looks like after the incident with Christian going off into Cops, that backed up the 3 pro cars of Vicky, Eric and Tommy quite a bit, which then caused the AM cars that were a little bit further back, i.e. Justin and Bad Moon, to get through, and left those 3 pro cars on the back foot quite a bit. So that may be the reason as to why Bad Moon's let them through, as their pace is should be theoretically a lot quicker due to their class.
That's it. So it looks like Tommy's just managed to gain position there off of Eric. So Tommy in the Aston, Eric in the purple Merc.
Looks like he's got it stuck through Vale as well.
Yeah, so he's done pretty well there. So nice to see that. Just keeping an eye on the other guys here, because quite a few people quite close together going through Vale at the moment.
The Mercedes is just as strong in the exit of corners, and especially in a straight line, so he'll have to deal with Tommy will have to deal with Eric being in his toe out of entry and down the Wellington straight, which may be quite a hindrance.
That's it. It should be very interesting to see what comes of this.
I think he had a bit of an issue going into Village in the loop, as that's put him back now
like
to
a bit there. That's it.
Behind Tommy.
So just with Molly Mole at the moment, or Mole Molly. So we've got 2 Astons pretty close together there with him and Jucifer. Looks like Nick Dealey's trying to go for
down the inside.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah, but it looks like he's had to back off.
Better.
He did. So not much happening at P1 at the moment. There's about a 1 second gap between Steve, who's leading, and David. About 1.5 second gap between David P2 and Justin, who's P3, but he's class P1 of the AM class. So, and there's about a 3.5 second gap between Justin and Vicky, who's P4 but P3 for the pro class at the moment. So at the moment,
update on Christian, who did qualify 3rd place and dropped down to the back of the grid, is now up to 11th, and is now he's only got Nick Dealey and the rest of the AM cars in front of him, and he's lapping about 2 seconds a lap quicker. So providing he gets and passes the AM cars cleanly and quickly, he should make his way back up the field in no time. But it's a question of how much time he's dropped to keep your
Exactly.
decks.
So he's going to have to play catch up, isn't he? But if you look at Tony, was it Tonio, whoever it was, on Wednesday, he had a bit of a bad start, didn't he, with the Mercedes, and he was playing catch up throughout the whole race. And then he ended up finishing P3, didn't he, of that? So he did very, very well there. So just keeping an eye on the relatives at the moment. Again, there's still a second gap between Steve and David for P1, P2. So all the action at the moment is pretty much where we are right now with Christian about to make a move.
Christian making his way through the field.
That's it, yeah. So I'm on there now with.
Thinks a little better of it as Nick goes to shut the door a little bit.
That's it. So they make the switch around there. So Nick has the better line, unfortunately.
But hanging it out through Luffield like that, just to give you a better exit, does over the whole course of the whole lap is much more beneficial as you carry more speed through Copse, and if you can through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, which gives you more speed down the Hanger Straight, providing you can keep that momentum.
That's it. So I'm just keeping an eye on the relatives at the moment. So it looks like David's P2 and Justin's P3. They're about 0.6 seconds off of each other at the moment, so we might have to jump over to them. Also with Bad Moon and Eric's 0.3 seconds. So I'll just stay with Chris.
Put a move on Nick into Stowe. He's certainly making his presence felt known. He's driving in his mirrors and flashing his lights. Just can't get it done. Nick driving really defensively.
That's it. So I'll do a quick flick over to Eric quickly. So if you keep an eye on these guys for us, Reese, and if anything happens, we'll jump back. So because Eric and Bad Moon were pretty close together at the moment. It looks like Eric's managed to get the overtake. Also, with
just some context on that, Bad Moon did let those 3 pro cars ahead of him by earlier in the race, so he's just been sticking with Eric to try and keep his pace up, because ahead of those 3 pro cars is Justin in the Bentley, so he's got to.
That's it. So yeah, I'm on with Justin at the moment and David, because these guys are pretty close together here at the moment. So it's quite surprising to see an amateur really up on the tail of the pros here for P3 at the moment. It looks like Nick Dealey again and Christian are all battling out, but Nick Dealey is playing very defensively at the moment as they come through Luffield.
Nick Dealey's done very well with some really good defensive driving so far, just putting his car in a place where Christian essentially has to lift, and in the most important places as well, which gives you the best exits, where you can have your foot planted, he has to lift, causing him to get a worse exit and therefore not catching or passing Nick Dealey.
That's it. So just jump back over to Justin in a second.
Big kick off oversteer as well. I managed to save it.
So it looks like one of the Mercedes just gone wide there, unfortunately.
Eric England also fell off at Maggots and Beckett's and is now down to P13.
Oh, that is a bit of a shame there, unfortunately. So I'll just jump back with David and Justin at the moment. So again, Justin's really putting the pressure on David here, but they're not actually fighting for position, because Justin's actually already the class leader for his class. So he doesn't have to really drive that car hard, because he's got no pressure from P2 of his class, really. So he won't be getting any extra points. But in the day, I mean, if he wants to have a bit of a battle with a pro, that's good.
I think anyone in that position, if you do have a racing mind, thinks, well, I'm already overall third on for an overall podium, and the pace is there. He seems to be holding on with David really well. So why not? Why not go for it?
That's it. So I'm just on back with Nick Daly and that, as Christian trying to put the pressure on and trying to make the move, but Nick Daly's made a defensive move there, trying to hold back Christian.
In all fairness, he changed his line once and then stuck to it, which is well within the rules.
That's right.
Didn't make a point of weaving. Just held his line, and not much Christian could really do about
There
it.
at the moment. No, that's right. So yeah, absolute awesome driving here. So it's really nice to see that all these guys are quite bunched up together at the moment, having a good battle here. It's very hard for us to try and keep track of everything that's going on because there's so many battles going on across the field right now. So jumping back to David and Justin for a minute for P2, P3, because again they're pretty close together as well. So the Bentley seems to have the edge on the hangar straight. This is where he sort of closes the gap here against the Lexus.
Looks like the battle between Nick and Christian has taken a third dimension as Nick's closed up on Mole, which is one of the M-Class drivers. Nick and Christian both being pro drivers.
Bit of contact.
Through Stow's just taken it a bit too far.
Yeah, unfortunately, a bit of contact there between Nick and Moldy Mole, but it's unfortunately, and yeah, it's cost them a lot of time, unfortunately. Bit of a shame there.
Nick might have got a little bit impatient there, threw it down the inside of Stowe, and then got a bit too much understeer.
That is such a shame, unfortunately.
Just understeered into the back of Mole. I don't think Mole was in the wrong there. He was just holding his line.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, that does happen. But I mean, in the day, like I said, we've had people making mistakes earlier on in the race, and they end up getting some better positions later on, especially with pit strategy. So again, it's anyone's race.
This seems to have benefited Christian though, as he's gotten past Nick, who was holding him up. Nick was being really good defensively driving, but Christian, in terms of an open lap, is a lot quicker. His pace, his potential pace, definitely being front runner's pace. So he's got to get past Bad Moon, which he's 3/10 away from now, and then Jusifer, Anthony, and then he should be on with the top 5 pro cars, providing he can get past this group of AMs.
Excuse me. So yeah, so Eric's just overtaken Marco here, so he's trying to really get back into the fight again. Back in the P12 at the moment. Looks like Christian is gaining on Bad Moon at the moment. So the Bad Moon actually decides to let Chris go past because they're not actually fighting full position. They're actually in different classes. So that'll be interesting to watch. I am just keeping an eye again with Steve. He's 1.5 seconds ahead of David at P1 and P2. Justin and David P3, P2. There's 0.4 seconds gap between them two at the moment. So they've been pretty much battling out like that for the last few laps. So if anything does change, I will be jumping back over to these guys. But at the moment,
I shall keep an eye on the battle between Wellbelov and Santos. Earlier in the lap, out of Chapel, Justin got a really bad exit out of Chapel, which caused him to bring the gap to about a second. But through Stowe, David got a big kick of oversteer, just managed to hold it, and that's what's closed the gap right up now, and has put Justin back in the tow and back in the hunt for overall position 2.
That's absolutely awesome there. So just keep an eye on Christian here. As Bad Moon's holding his line at the moment, but Christian's trying to find a gap to get past. Bad Moon is making a few defensive moves there. He should only be making one defensive move, but he's gone wide, so it's his own fault there, really. As Christian makes the overtake now and passes Bad Moon.
Yeah, I'd say that was a bit too much weaving down the straight.
Exactly, you had no reason to do that. But
no, I think you should either make one decisive move, providing it's not too late and the driver behind isn't too close. Because if they're too close, that might take them off guard and they might move to the same way at the same time, causing an incident. But I think that was a little bit desperate by Bad Moon, just to try and keep the pro class driver behind.
Exactly,
he has a tow and he is coming back on Christian, so providing this is clean, we'll see how this pans out.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if Christian actually took any damage earlier on for lap 1, whether that's actually caused anything. But looking at the lap times at the moment, Christian's about a second off of the fastest lap so far, from a 1:59, fastest lap being almost a 1:58 dead. from Steve Strado, who's in P1 at the moment.
Plus, you have to remember that Christian has also had very few laps without traffic. All of his laps have been in traffic, either being behind Nick Dealey or being behind Badman. So it's interesting to see how his true pace is.
So Eric Eggman is trying to get himself back up here again, so he's having a bit of a battle with Libor at the moment. So Eric definitely a lot faster in the Mercedes here, so waiting to take his chance. So Eric manages to make a pass past Libor, so which takes Eric up to P10. So at the moment, not a lot going on over the grid now. Everyone's sort of about just over a second apart. Closest people at the moment is Anthony and Jusifer, about 0.7 seconds between each other at the moment. So unfortunately, earlier on we had that 4-car battle. Unfortunately, 2 of the cars ended up, or 1 car taking out another car, and yeah, ended up finishing that battle off quite early, unfortunately. But that was pretty awesome to watch up to that point. So again, I say at the moment, not too much going on. I'm just looking at Molly Moller here and Nicholas, as they're getting pretty close together now, 0.2 second gap. So unfortunately, yeah, Mole was one of the ones that got took out earlier and lost a few positions from that, which is a bit of a shame. Nick Dealey's again lost a few positions. He was the one that took out Molimo, so he's P13 at the moment. I will jump on the leader for a bit, as he's not had too much screen time at the moment. So we've got Steve here for P1. So holding a nice consistent lead of about 1.7, 1.8 seconds from David. The gap between Justin and David has now increased to about a second, where they were sort of like about 0.4 seconds between each other for the last several laps. But obviously, as they start to drive these cars hard, obviously grip levels and stuff are going to change. Just jump over to Jusifer at the moment, because there's a bit of a battle going on. So it looks like Christian's trying to put the pressure on here as he's climbing up through the field. So he's done really well so far. Like I said, had a really bad start where he got took out on lap 1, T1, unfortunately, but he's managed to claw himself back through the pack. So as he's putting the pressure on Jusifer. So Christian is very confident in this Porsche, knows the limits of this car, and he uses it to his advantage.
He's really pushing and being as aggressive as he can. He's probably
That's it, yeah.
It's probably all the anger from the lap 1 incident. I wouldn't be surprised.
This is it. So he tries to take the inside line here. So he's managed to take the pass. Takes the pass.
We'll see if they come back through the Welsh again.
That's it, yeah.
Breaks way later.
That's it. So it's nice to see all these cars are quite bunched up together again. So it's quite good to see now through the mid-pack. Yeah, it sure is fun. Welcome to the chat there, mate. Don't forget to obviously like and follow us and subscribe on YouTube as well, because we are streaming to both platforms. So yeah, pretty awesome at the moment. Not much going on with the front runners. Steve Strado, who's P1, is about 3 seconds ahead of David. Justin, who's P3, is about 0.5 seconds off David in P2. So pretty much it's these guys here at the moment are pretty close together. I'm just going to jump over to Nick Dealey, because he was pretty close a minute ago with someone. So he just made an overtake there, because he's now shot up to P12. So he's just overtaken Michael Springer there. Jumping back to Jucifer, as we've got so much battles going on right across the field, which is nice to see and great for the views. So it's nice to see these guys all bunched up together, having a good old battle through here. So hopefully we don't have any instances. So again, yeah, Christian's now back up to P6. So he's done very well so far, putting the pressure on Anthony at the moment. So I'm going to jump over to Christian to see how he's getting on. I might just jump on board with him since just to get a bit of perspective from his view. So just see, because he seems to like to make a move here, taking the inside line to get a faster exit. But it looks like Anthony's doing quite well here. So we'll see how this plans out through the Vale chicane. So just behind me, I'm just keeping an eye on the relatives here, is Jucifer in P8 and Bad Moon P9. They're sort of having a bit of a battle together. And Eric and P10, all very close up together at the moment behind these guys. So I might just jump to Helicam, just so you guys can see what's going on. So just jump over to Bad Moon and that. So it looks like they might have spread out a bit now. But as you see, they're all quite bunched up together here. Also at the same time. So it looks like Christian trying to make a move on Anthony. As Christian gets the inside line. And oh, there might be a little bit of contact there with Anthony. So Anthony goes off wide as he gets a bit of contact from Bad Moon, unfortunately. So fortunately Bad Moon made a bad decision there, making contact with Anthony. So hopefully he doesn't lose too much time there. So that is a bit of a shame, because unfortunately now is Anthony's now lost a position there. 2 positions off of that. So Bad Moon will need to give their positions back, because if he doesn't, he will get maximum penalty points. So Anthony's taking a wider line. But as Joseph has already got the inside line here as they come to the end of Hangar Straight. Looks like Eric's also there trying to put the pressure on as well and try and get past these guys. But with Anthony later on the brakes and taking the chicane. But it looks like Jucifer manages to claw that, and it looks like Eric takes advantage of that, and Anthony unfortunately loses another position. So a bit of a shame really, he's having a bit of a bad time here. But hopefully he should be able to make some positions up. But as we say, we've got just over a minute and a half, or just under a minute and a half actually now, till the pit window opens. And once the pit window opens, they've got 10 minutes to go in, change the tyres. So this is going to be very interesting to see the pit strategies and how well these guys do with their pit strategies. Because as from Wednesday's race, there was quite a big change around with people getting faster pit times, and obviously changing the game. And this is where obviously they ended up winning. Some people winning the races from this. So yeah, it can be anyone's game at the moment. So just because the leaderboard is showing what it is. Especially with Vicky, because when she was racing Wednesday, she had one of the fastest pit strategies, and she managed to grab P2 at the end of the race. So it'd be interesting to see if she can manage to get something like this again. And so as we come closer to the pit window opening. So at the moment, not much going on. There's about a 3-second gap between Steve and Justin, between P1 and P2. The gap's opened up between... Oh, sorry, actually, Justin's actually managed to take P2, sorry, off of David. I do apologise. I don't know what's happened to David here. So David's obviously gone back to P3. So unfortunately we managed to miss that as we was going through some of the stuff. So yes, there you go. The pit window's just open. So they've got 10 minutes to get in and change tyres. If they don't change tyres, then the game will disqualify them at the end of the race. So they need to make sure they get in and pit in that time.
I think David had an incident or is nursing some kind of problem because he's lost 7, now 8 seconds to Justin ahead and is losing time to Vicky, who's closing in at quite a pace.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see because it shows on the highlights here there is an accident. But unfortunately it doesn't tell me if that was actually that one. Between car 19 and 28. So it's car 19 and 28, so nothing between car 26. So yeah, no, it looks like there's no contact between car 26 then.
We've got so far in the pits we have David, we have Mehmet Kara and Nicholas Rage so far. We'll see how this progresses because Alberto in the race at Brands Hatch did lose a lot of time through the pits, so through the pits a lot of time can be won or lost, so we'll have to see how this pans out in terms of strategy.
So yeah, just a nice message here from Chris that's in our Discord saying that he's in Spa at the moment and he's actually watching the live stream and he's saying there's some great battles going on so far and obviously great commentary from me and you, Reese. Very much appreciated for that, Chris. Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
So not much going on at the moment. Looks like Anthony's gone into the pits. Yeah, thank you very much for the follow there, mate. Really appreciate that.
Anthony, Libor and Christian Feel have, all three of them have entered the pits. Christian just leaving now.
So this will be interesting if Christian's just leaving the pits now. He was P6 a minute ago, wasn't he? So it'll be interesting to see once everyone else is pitted where he comes out. So we'll keep an eye on that at the moment.
And I think crucially, both of the AM cars that pitted with him are behind him.
That's it.
So that is less traffic for him to cope with. The next placed car ahead is David Santos, who was running a net third. But he's being held up by Ray at the moment, who has yet to pit and was further down the order before everyone started pitting. So when you pit can really be vital as to how much time you win or lose. We saw on Wednesday Albert in the Ferrari running him first really extended his stint to the last possible moments and gained roughly 10 seconds on the next car.
That's awesome. That's pretty good. So it looks like Tommy's gone into the pits as well. He's currently P4 and Jucifer is just gone into the pits. So yeah, so thanks for the follow, guys. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to obviously follow us on Twitch and like and subscribe on YouTube because I am streaming to both platforms. And obviously, if you've got any questions, feel free to obviously post them in the Twitch chat. I'm watching over the Twitch chat. Reese is watching over the YouTube chat. So yeah, any questions about the community, the races, the commentary, yeah, please do ask any questions. But while I've got your attention actually, and while obviously not much is going on at the moment, we'll be live broadcasting the official race room Division 2 esports race starting from the 18th of August, which will be running about 4:45 p.m. UK time. So yeah, that's going to be pretty awesome to watch. So do obviously jump on that and watch that, guys. It's quite a big thing for us to be able to commentate on a proper esports event. So for Race Room. So yeah, do check that out on the 18th of August. So just looking at the moment, it looks like Steve and Justin's just gone into the pits. So they're running P1, P2 at the moment. Not much going on across the field at the moment. Everyone's sort of spread out at the moment right now, about 1 to 1.5 seconds apart. So not much going on, unfortunately, right now. But at the moment,
Looks like
Vicky's
Vicky's going to extend her stint by around a lap, maybe 2 at the most, given the pit window timings. Maybe taking a leaf out of Albert's book from the Wednesday championship. As to extending your stint, you could gain some good time. She's got a 25-second gap ahead, so she's got plenty of clear track and nothing to hold her up.
That's it, absolutely awesome. So yeah, don't forget, guys, if you've got Twitch subscribe, don't forget to use them on us. You'll be much appreciated. Obviously, you guys can stay in tune then to obviously watching our races and broadcasters. So it looks like T-Mass has just gone in the pits. Looks like
Steve's just leaving
Steve.
the pits.
That is Steve. Yeah, unfortunately it looks like Steve and David's got the same car and they same livery. So I just didn't want to say who it was leaving the pits then until I was 100% sure. But yeah, Steve's just left the pits now. So Steve's up to P6 at the moment. So Vicky's P1 at the moment, but she still needs to pit. So we'll see if she uses this time. She's got enough time to do, I'd say, another lap if she wanted to. So she might play it safe and actually come in now.
It might be a little bit close. I think everyone ahead of Steve hasn't pitted just yet, so we'll have to see how this plans out. So depending on how much of a gap Vicky pulls out, at the moment net positions are Steve in first, then down to Tommy, who has pitted, Tommy Iker, and David Santos. Looks like David's lost his net third when before the pit window opened. He pitted just as the pit window opened, but then got caught behind Ray Taylor in the Lamborghini and is now 8 seconds behind Tommy Iker, who has also pitted.
Nice. So just quickly say that, yeah, so Christian's just managed to make an overtake here over Jusifa. So he's trying to get himself back up through the grid as he's just taken P12. So like I said, just before the pits, he was P6. So again, hopefully once the pit window closes in about 2 minutes, 40 seconds, we should see him hopefully around the same sort of position, P6. So that was interesting. It looks like Tommy was having a bit of a battle then, but maybe the relative was just slightly off then, because there's nothing around him at the moment. So just missed Mr. Winkler at the moment. So I don't know if he did manage to make the overtake, because the benefits was quite close.
Tommy was closing in on Marco Winkler, but then Marco had to pit as Tommy has already pitted and Marco hadn't. So I think Marco just let him go past.
Excellent. So Vicky's pitted and Vicky's coming out the pits now. It looks like she's managed to hold on to P1 by the way. It was Steve just behind her. So hang on a minute. Is this telling me the right thing?
It's David just behind her. So this is after the stop. So after the stop, Steve Strelo maintains his lead and extends the gap. So it's now around 3 seconds. To Tommy Iker, who has benefited quite a lot after the pits. Vicky, who's also benefited quite a lot, and David Santos, who's dropped back and is now being put a lot of pressure under by Justin in the Bentley.
That's it, yes. I'm just back on watching these guys here. For some reason, my broadcast app that's running beside it is not updating fast enough. It showed Vicky P1 then, but obviously in the on-screen menu, she was actually P3, so I do apologise about that.
It looks like Justin's got him as well into the Vale chicane.
Justin sure has, yeah.
Taking away P4 from David.
Nice, so absolute awesome driver there. So it looks like David's taking on some heavy damage there, looking at his front bumper, unfortunately. So it looks like Tommy at the moment is P2. So quite interesting to see how this is all planned out at the moment. So Steve is obviously P1, Tommy's now P2, Vicky P3, David Santos P4, Justin P5. Looks like Christian, who was P6 earlier before the pits, is now P7, so he didn't have as good as pit strategy. Looks like Ray had a really good pit strategy because he's now up to P6. So at the moment it's completely changed. Tables have turned at the moment. So not too much going on at the. So the pit window's just closed there. Just because the game's just said. Not much going on at the moment. Everyone's sort of about a second apart right now. But again, I mean, anything can change in a minute. So we'll jump in with Anthony because these guys are pretty close at the moment with Bad Moon and Anthony close together. So it's nice to see that Anthony's actually managed to get back in front of Bad Moon after that bit of contact, which obviously lost Anthony a couple of positions. So yeah, it's very nice to see that he's doing well right now. But unfortunately, he was ahead of Jucifer, who's in P8 now. But so he's still got a couple of positions he needs to fight back to get back where he was. But overall, Justin Welby Love's now P4, so he's doing well at the moment, but P1 for his class, the AM class, so he's doing very, very well here. So absolutely dominating the AM class. So Jucifer is P2 or P8 overall for his class.
Do you remember seeing Ray Taylor pit? Because for some reason I can't remember him actually pitting.
Well, if he hasn't pitted, then he will end up getting disqualified at the end of the race, and it will say that in the results. So
okay, because he started on the back row of the grid, and I didn't see him make completely exceptional progress. And for some reason, it might be my brain just blanking up. I can't remember seeing him pit.
Yeah, that is a very good question actually. But like we say, I mean, if it's too late now. So if he tries to pit now, he's not pitted inside the pit window. So like I said at the end of the race, if he didn't actually pit, because I don't remember actually seeing if he did or not, he will become disqualified. So yeah, the game will disqualify you for that. So at the moment, again, it's Bad Moon and Anthony. So Bad Moon's really using the full width of the track there to make a nice overtake on Anthony. So unfortunately, Anthony's lost another position now from Bad Moon. So as Anthony just gives us a little flash there to say hello. So again, at the moment, not much going on. Steve is about just under 5 seconds ahead of Tommy in P2. But it's nice to see that Tommy's managed to have an awesome pit to obviously grab P2 now. Vicky again P3, so she had a pretty great pit strategy that's got her an extra position. So she's done very well as well. I mean, at the moment, it's been pretty good. So Eric's gone in the pits, but I don't know why. He's obviously too late for the pits. So I don't know if he's just retiring or what. I don't know. Or maybe he forgot to pick fuel during his pit. I don't know. But his engine's off. So we're keeping an eye on this. Because at the moment we've had no retirements or anything. So everyone's been doing pretty well. But then saying that, T-Master's just gone into the pits as well. So this is very interesting to see why these guys have gone into the pits now. Especially after the pit window. So I'm definitely sure I saw T-Master and Eric pit during the pit window as well. So I don't know if, again, whether they didn't take fuel or not. So very strange. So
I think it may have been fuel because I haven't seen either cars go up on the jacks for a tyre change.
So maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they decided to take 2 pits, but that's going to cost them a lot of time, though, doing that. So maybe they didn't get their pit strategy set up properly then. Forgot to obviously take the fuel. So we'll see in a minute. So it looks like T-Master's... Yeah, so T-Master's back out now. So maybe he did go in for a quick fuel up. But Eric's still in the pits. But no, Eric looks like Eric's is just coming out of the pits as well. So yeah, it looks like these guys just had a quick a refuel, but obviously it's cost them a lot of time. So now they're at the back of the pack. So which is a bit of a shame. So it looks like David's just overtook T-Master there, which is one of the back markers. So at the moment, not too much going on. Got
Everyone's pretty
Bad
spaced out.
Moon's, yeah, Bad Moon's just overtaken Eric, but Bad Moon's now obviously a back marker. Sorry, Eric's now a back marker. So a bit of a shame, really, because he had pretty good. He was pretty strong through the qualifying. So that's what I mean. It's just a shame if they mess up their pit strategy. You know, it's cost them, you know, some good valuable positions. So yeah. Yeah, guys, if you're obviously new to the stream, don't forget to obviously like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitch, because I am streaming to both platforms at the same time. And obviously, if you do have Twitch Prime, then don't forget to obviously subscribe to us. That would be absolutely great. Thank you. But one other thing is, obviously, we are a big community now. We have over 1,300 members. We race across a selection of games 7 days a week. So this is mainly PC. So if you want to be a part of that, then do come on over and join our Discord. All links are down in the descriptions below. So either below in Twitch or YouTube. So do check them out. And obviously follow us on Twitter and all the other social medias that we use. Very much appreciated. So, but going back to the races, still at the moment not too much going on.
Closest gap right now is between Jusifer and Libor, which is for, I believe it's for P2 in the AM category.
That's it, yeah. So, like I said, not too much going on at the moment, because as I said, since the pit strategies, it's sort of really spread the field out. So it looks like Razor just jumped in track here, saying that his inexperience has cost me again. Oh, that's a bit of a shame there, mate, isn't it? So unfortunately, didn't make the pit window, and yeah, unlucky. So at the moment, it looks like Nick Dealey and Anthony are closer together at the moment. Steve's running P1 at the moment. He's about just over 6 seconds ahead of Tommy. And there's about a 15-second gap between Tommy and Vicky, looking at my relative at the moment, for P2, P3. So not too much going on at the front right now. I mean, these guys are the ones that are pretty close together at the moment. I am just keeping an eye on David and Ray Taylor, because there's about 0.6 second gap between these guys at the moment, but it is increasing. Yeah, of course, I'll bring the leaderboard for you and have a quick look. What would be nice is if did add something to summarise that they've actually pitted, so that we can see exactly who's actually pitted here. And then we'd definitely be able to tell if Ray actually did pit or not.
Even just like a green check next to the name after they've done their mandatory pit.
Yeah, this is a bit strange actually. So, so Ray actually, and Ray ended up having to leave, yeah, because he's in chat now. Yeah, so yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Ray was actually in Twitch just then, saying that obviously he didn't miss the pit window, so he ended up getting disqualified. So it's actually Chris doing this in P6 now. It wasn't Ray. Ray was in P6, but because he didn't pit, he obviously got DQ'd.
And Christian's only 3 seconds back from David in P5, so there is a chance to claw back even more after his incident that left him at the back of the grid after lap 1. So he's done well to get back up to P6. P5 I think would be a bonus, and he seems to be on target to catch him, but it'll be another thing getting past him.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just staying on board again with Anthony at the moment, because again these guys are pretty close. So Anthony and Nick Dealey behind in the McLaren. So it looks like Nick Dealey's later on the brakes here, tries to close the gap. So as we start to come around the loop.
I think there is definitely a problem with David's car, because he's lost in the sector 2 into sector 3. He's lost about 2.5 seconds to Christian, and now the gap is 1.2 seconds. And one of the back markers, T-Master NL, was actually coming back at him down the straights as well.
That's it. I've just jumped over there. So Christian's just passed T-Master there. He's one of the back markers in the Audi. So it looks like Christian is in the Porsche and David is in the Lexus ahead here. They're having a little bit of a battle as well. So this is battle for for battle for P5, P6. So something's looking strange here. It's saying that Christian's P6, but it's not. He's P5. I don't know what's going on with the board table at the moment. I will just double check this. So Christian,
speed difference just overall between the Porsche and David's Lexus at the moment. I think he's definitely nursing some kind of issue.
Yeah, you can see that on the front of his car. You can see he's got some serious damage there. So some serious damage to the aero, making him slower through the corners and stuff, unfortunately. So looks like someone got a stop and go penalty. Car 14. Who was car 14? Oh, that's what happened then. So it looked like Eric Eggman actually got a stop and go penalty. So that's why he went into the pits earlier on. So it wasn't actually for fuel. He obviously cut the track and ended up getting a stop and go penalty, unfortunately.
Red Burning Ice has put some great analytics in chat with the positions lost and gained after the pits.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive there, so appreciate that, Red Bear Nice. Thank you very much for adding that and letting the viewers know what's changed and stuff. So, yeah, again, guys, obviously, if you're new to the stream, don't forget to obviously follow us on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter as well. Follow us on Twitch. Like and subscribe on YouTube. That would be absolutely great, thank you. So, just jump over to Christian here, see what's going on here. You've got Nick pretty close behind there, so yeah, so Christian's about 16 seconds off of P4, so I don't think he's going to gain a better position from this race, unless Justin makes a really big mistake. But overall, he is actually P4 of his class, with Justin being P1 for his AM class, but obviously P4 overall. So some pretty awesome racing going on from the AM class as well to be so far up the grid.
We've still got quite a close battle for position 2 in the AM class. It's now a 3-car battle between Jucifer, Libor and Bad Moon now.
That's it, I want these guys, yeah. Yeah, just caught that. That's they're all quite bunched together at the moment. So yeah, pretty awesome to see some awesome battles going on through the mid-pack as well. So again, not much going on at the front of the pack at the moment. Steve Strelo still holding P1. It's about 5 points, almost 6 seconds ahead of Tommy, who's P2. And then there's about a 7-second gap between Tommy and Vicky in P2 to P3. And then about 18-second gap between Vicky and Justin, P4. But Justin is obviously P1 for his AM class. So it's pretty awesome up there at the moment. But like I said, at the moment, it's these guys that are battling out at the moment. So
got a change of position. Bad Moon has gone ahead of Libor.
He sure did, yeah, just caught that at the last moment. So Bad Moon's definitely very aggressive with the Lexus here, you know, but the thing is he's being very aggressive, but I think at the same time he's making a few mistakes as well where he's made contact with other cars. So, but it's still... I
think that move through the loop was acceptable. It was definitely aggressive, and his have been aggressive, but it's still acceptable. It was very decisive. It wasn't 50-50. However, his defending against Christian early in the race with his weaving, I would say, is definitely quite questionable. But apart from that, he's been aggressive, but relatively clean, apart from one minor incident.
That's it. So I have to say, from sort of P6 to P10, all the guys are pretty bunched up together here, which is quite nice to see, especially later on through the race.
Sorry to cut in, Simon. It looks like Jucifer lost quite a lot of time through Maggots and Beckett's in the Aston. as Bad Moon's closed up quite a lot now. Is only 3/10 behind, and the Lexus being through these mid-speed corners quite fast should close up quite a bit, and takes a tighter line through Stowe and is right up beside and going into the Vale chicane. Who's brave on the brakes is definitely Bad Moon, but can he get it stuck into Club? Goes a tad wide, and that seems to have cost him.
It did, yeah, cost him a few tenths there, unfortunately. So, well done to Jucifer to keeping his cool there and managing to keep his position. So, some awesome driving going on here. So again, I said not much going on at the front at the moment. I mean, most of the racing is going on through the mid pack here between sort of P6 to P10, as these guys are all bunched up here. So some pretty awesome racing going on between the AM class drivers. So I am just keeping an eye. I'll just jump back to Nick Deedy and see these guys going on. So it looks like Nick Deedy's managed to make the overtake on Anthony, unfortunately. So Anthony's lost another position there. So Bad Moon trying to put the pressure on as he tries to take an inside line, really trying to cut the track there of Luffield. But he had to obviously back off a bit, so he's lost quite a lot of time there off of Jucifer. As Jucifer literally closed the door saying, you're not doing that. So yeah, unfortunately Bad Moon had to back off and he's lost all that time gained. Where that
Also, each time Bad Moon does one of these moves and doesn't get it off on Jucifer, he's backing himself up into Liebel behind, who is also in the AM class and is challenging for this position as well. So I think Liebel's doing the right thing at the moment, just biding his time, because he knows, given how aggressive Bad Moon is and how defensive Jucifer's going, there may be a chance of something going wrong that he may be able to capitalise, as Bad Moon goes really quite wide through Stowe.
He did, yeah, that's right. So yeah, I've noticed there that Bad Moon is very quick through the S's there, catching up with Jucifer. So he's obviously got it set up pretty dialed in through the S's.
The Lexus seems to be a lot more on the nose through those medium high-speed corners, just getting it turned. The rotation's a lot better on that car, whereas the Aston can suffer from quite bad understeer through those types of corners.
Absolutely. So some pretty awesome racing going on so far. So just jumping ahead with David here, as these guys are pretty close here as well. So
that's a good thing to note as well. Jucifer and that pack of three have also caught up to David, who's been nursing a problem since before the mandatory pit opened. So we'll see if he loses any other positions now to any of the AM cars behind, given his lack of pace. He's been lapping in the 2-minute fours.
Yeah, so he's about 4 or 5 seconds off of pace at the moment compared to the other lap time. So yeah, he's losing a lot of time here, unfortunately. So you know, it was the case of, well, does he actually go and pit and repair and lose more time in the pits, or does he just try and just hang it out, for the next 6.5 minutes? So, but he's still holding on to P6 at the moment.
I think the damage might have been a little bit unrepairable, because it was before the damage was before the pit window, and he did pit and come in when he had the damage, and it looks like it hasn't really helped, as now he's in the middle, but Jucifer's put some space between him and Bad Moon.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. There might be a bit of lag or something there.
I think I saw the same thing.
He just shot off the track, but he didn't. But
Bad Moon,
it looks like Bad Moon's just made a move.
Not Bad Moon. David wisely just pulling off to the side and letting people through. I think he knows that it's hindering him way too much, and he's not being a bad sport about it and being too aggressive. So that's really fair play and lots of respect to him for that.
That's it.
Oh, it looks like that's really come to bite Bad Moon.
Oh, that's very unlucky for him there, isn't it? So lost so much time there, unfortunately. But yeah, as he tries to loop back around, what a shame. So it looks like Nick Deedy's putting the pressure on here with Libor in front. So just stay with these guys for a minute. So some awesome racing going on near the end of the race here. Absolutely insane
As
of how
Nick's
close they
really
got. That was a
diving one
Nick's.
down.
Oh, he was
Oh,
so late on the brakes, but so lucky
so
there.
close, so
Damn.
close there.
That was really.
That was
That was a hair-raising moment right there.
that was very close. That was very, very close. It looks like Liebel lost a place to Anthony as well.
He did, yes. So Anthony's managed to gain a position there. So Anthony's now up to P9. So that's pretty awesome racing. So really good going here between these guys as they come up to David now. So so they're also going to lose a bit of time as they start to bunch up and get together. And David's just going to have to put over and let them pass in a minute.
I think he will. Someone
it,
nearby, he pulls over and lets Nick pass.
So Nick's now managed to grab P7 there. So unfortunately to David's opposition. Oh, it looks like Anthony's just touched the curb there and just gone straight off. What a shame. What a moment there. It's 4 minutes left of the race and just literally just put the power on, just touching the curb there and just span him straight out. That is so unlucky.
I think the lack of speed that David was carrying through cops as well threw him off a little bit. Just touched the brakes mixed with the catching the curb, just threw him right off, and that's lost him I think about 3 positions now. So
nice.
He's got some work to do in the next 4 minutes, otherwise that's put him out of the top 10.
Crazy. So thank you for the follow there, Denny. Appreciate that. So just back on with David again. There's obviously lots more other cars are starting to catch up with him now.
It looks like Juzefers, who's now running position 2 in the AM category, has built up a lead of 4 seconds to the next AM car behind, which is Libor in the number 21 Ferrari, and has put 4 cars in between them.
Nice. So it looks like Nick there in the Audi's just gone wide. So everyone's getting bunched up behind David, unfortunately, as David's obviously taken a lot of damage here and he's lost a lot of positions, unfortunately, due to the damage he's got to his car.
Looks like Libor can't get close
like
enough, as Michael Springer's going to go for a move into left field. Into Brooklyn's, apologies.
Yeah, Brooklyn's, that's it, yeah. So he just managed to grab that, yes.
But this is going to give Anthony a chance at P3 in the AM class now, because Libor's on the last step of the podium in the AM class, so this gives Anthony a real chance with another 2 laps to go.
This is it, yeah. So it's anyone's race at the moment as they come in. I imagine there's an extra lap after this. Just see whereabouts Steve is. So he's going through the loop with there's 2 minutes 14. So yeah, there is going to be another lap, unfortunately. So we should have about 3 minutes left of race by the looks of it. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys get on. But yeah, that was the leader there, Steve Strelo. I mean, he's about 8.5 seconds ahead of P2 Tommy. And then Tommy's about 8 seconds ahead of Vicky in P3. And then it's about an 18-second gap between Vicky and Justin for P4. But Justin is in the AM class, so he's actually P1 for his class.
Just an update, Michael Springer has gotten past David in the Lexus, which the Lexus we knew was slower, and the Lexus has actually held up the 2 Ferraris that are battling for the last position, the last step on the podium in the AM class. So this will really heat up now, as we've got not only this lap but the next one, so Lieber's really going to have to hold on.
Oh, as Anthony's just gone wide there and he's lost a lot of time.
And he's lost the bad moon now. But the thing is, this battle for the last step of the podium in the AM class is not over, because Bad Moon's right behind Lieber. So as one bows out, another one's come right back in for the last step of the podium.
So absolutely awesome race so far, these guys in the mid pack here. So it's been absolutely fantastic to watch these guys. The positions have just been changing all over the place at the moment. Bad Moon's, yeah, he's really hot, isn't he? Yes.
He's closed the gap though. He's closed the gap really close. We'll see. He's gonna go wide on Luffer, but he's gonna have a better exit. And with Lieber gonna probably get held up by David, who seems to be just slower with the damage he's nursing. We'll see how this plays in, because that will be a big factor, which will close up the battle between Libor and Bad Moon, as that does close up between Bad Moon now.
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
So there's just
very,
9 seconds
very
left for the race. I just want to quickly see where Steve is. So, Reese, if you just keep an eye on these guys and see if anything changes quickly, we'll
I
just
will
see roughly
just a
where.
heads up. I will butt in if if a position changes.
Awesome, yeah. So it looks like Steve's just literally going around the second to last corner through Luffield now, as he looks like to take P1 for the pros.
It looks like both
P1
Nick
overall.
Dealey and David are nursing problems, because Nick's backed off massively now. And Lieber's managed to get through past both of Nick and David, and Bad Moon has only made it past 2, and that's hit David off at Vale, and that's really put
Oh,
him out.
absolutely shocking.
It looks like Bad Moon's waited. He just got way too aggressive, and that's just put him
That's a
down.
bit of a shame there. So
That's
yeah,
just a
Tommy's
shame.
got P2 there. Vicky's just about to come over the line here for P3. I will just quickly jump back to see what's going on back here. So unfortunately, David's lost so much time now. So not much going on here. So yeah, back to Justin here for P4 as he just comes over the start-finish line. So he gets P1 for the AM class, P4 overall. So absolutely
in a
awesome
dominant
driving
fashion as well in the AM class.
That's it. Christian.
27 seconds ahead of P2 in AM.
That's it. Christian for P5 there.
Good recovery drive from Christian after his first lap incident that let him go down the whole grid and just fought his way back to P5. I'd say a good drive from him.
Absolutely awesome there, yeah. So, yeah, Jucifer's managed to get P6 and P2 for the AM class. So, absolutely well done to him. Awesome racing there. Michael there has just managed to take P7. Libor
takes the last step for the podium in the AM class.
That's it. Anthony's just going to line.
4 in AM class, P9 overall.
Yeah, David P10. So I'll guess these guys are already finished. I take it. I don't know what's happened to Bad Moon.
Yes,
Has Bad Moon ran out of fuel? I don't know what's going on here because he's lost a lot of positions here. I think he's ran out of fuel. Oh no! Unlucky to Bad Moon. So it looks like Mole's managed to get a position there as well. Or is it actually over? I'm not actually sure 100% if it's actually the end of the race or not with these guys. Must be. So there you are with the final board. So Steve Strado for P1, Tommy P2, Vicky P3, Justin for P4, Christian for P5, Jucifer P6, Michael for P7, Libor P8, Anthony P9, Mole P10, Bad Moon P11, Winkler for P12, Nick Dealey for P13, the other Nick for P14, Mermet's got P15 there and T-Master P16. So absolutely well done, guys. Awesome racing there. So yeah, guys, if you haven't obviously started to see the start of the race and you're late joined in, please do watch back through the race because we've had some absolutely epic battles going on through this race here. So yeah, absolutely awesome to see. Otherwise, well, thanks for coming along, guys. Really appreciate you guys obviously following us and obviously liking, subscribing on YouTube. Don't forget, guys, if you're obviously new, don't forget to obviously follow us again. And obviously, if you are Twitch Prime holders, then do obviously subscribe to our channel. That'd be absolutely awesome. But yeah, we will be back again live broadcasting on Wednesday for the. We'll be back again next Friday. For the Ferrari 488 event in ACC where we'll be commentating. And then mid-August we have the Race Room Esports race, which we will be live commentating for the official Race Room races. So esports. So that's pretty awesome for us to grab that. Welcome Frosty to the chat. So yeah, so do check that out. That'll be the 18th of August. And that starts around 4:45 p.m. UK time, and that's in the WTCR classes. So that's for the proper esports race. Race Room Tuesday. Yeah, I suppose we could commentate on the Race Room Race Tuesday if you're around, Frosty. So yeah, we could obviously look into doing that. So actually we might be back Tuesday actually with Race Room. and then obviously Friday with ACC. But yeah, we do plan obviously to start commentating more of the races across our selection of games anyway. But anyway, thanks again, guys, for coming here and watching. Like I said, if you're into sim racing, there's links below to come and join our community. We have over 1,300 members so far and growing pretty fast each day. Also, if you want to support us and you want to buy any sim gear, then do head to the links below as well, Fanatec and that. So obviously that helps as well. So awesome. Otherwise, see you again, guys, and thanks for coming along. Cheers.
Thank you.